There's a quote of Rumi's, which is one of my favorites, and it's for a long, long time. It's aligned really closely with my work. And then a member of the Wildford community shared an extended version, which I'd never heard before, but which made it make even more sense than it had before. So this is the quote. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it and embrace them. So that last part, and embrace them, I'd never heard that before shared in relation to that quote, but it's so true. The point of an experience of alignment isn't an absence of fears or worries or doubts, but it's an absence of resistance to them, and it's an embracing of them. I'm just going to read that quote again because I really love it. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it and embrace them. Because really, truly, being in alignment doesn't mean you're lit up all the time. It doesn't mean you're on fire all the time. It doesn't mean you're full of joys of spring all the time. It means you're in alignment with whatever is showing up here right now. It means there's an absence of resistance to whatever is showing up here right now. An absence of fear to whatever is showing up here right now, including if that which is showing up is fear. It's like we catch sight of ourselves in whatever state we are, and we recognize that, and we do whatever makes sense in that moment to drop the resistance to that and to embrace whatever it is. And there's such a myriad of ways, I'll maybe do another video about this idea of dropping resistance, because it's even that phrase, drop resistance, let go of resistance. We hear that phrase and we go, oh, yes, that's a good idea. But then we're left with like, yeah, but how? How do I do that? If I knew how to do that, I'd have been doing that forever. If that was a thing I could do, I'd have done that forever. And so, yeah, so I'll do another video about what do we even mean when we say that phrase, dropping resistance or allowing or letting go. They're kind of different words for the same thing. And it doesn't always look so easy in the reality of it. So yeah, so being in alignment doesn't mean we're lit up all the time. It doesn't mean we're in the joys of spring the whole time. It doesn't mean we're bouncing off the ceiling the whole time. It doesn't mean we're feeling like everything is alive and perfect and amazing. It means that sometimes there'll be sadness. Sometimes there'll be doubts. Sometimes there'll be worries. And the more we can be with that experience as it is, in alignment with that experience as it is, rather than fearing it, running away from it, turning away from it, resisting it, treating it as though it is a barrier, the more we can turn towards it and embrace it and be love with it, then the more easily that creative expression that we are gets revealed. Because really these barriers aren't true barriers. The barriers that Rumi's talking about in his quote there, the barriers within yourself that you have built against love, they're not true barriers. They're, yes, experiences which have been collected in our psychological, emotional, physical systems. And therefore, yes, they are asking for love. They are asking for our inclusion. They are asking to be part of who we are because they already are part of who we are. They're asking to be returned to their natural state. And what we've done for so long is reject and resist them because we've thought that then means I'm bad, I'm wrong, I'm a failure, I'm a disaster, people are going to hate me, people are going to reject me. So of course, when that's been what we've believed, of course we've run away from them, of course we've turned away from ourselves. But all of these experiences are ourself. And the discomfort that we're feeling when they arise is only telling us that they want some love and inclusion. They want some loving attention. They want to be embraced, like Rumi said. And when we don't do that, they simply ask louder and louder until we do listen, until we do turn towards them, until we do pay them attention and listen to what they want to say. And I, in fact, had this very experience over the last few days with this summit. If you saw my first video about it, you'll have seen that lit up. So excited. Oh my God, like this is so perfect. This is so my perfect thing to do. I'm so in alignment with it. Oh my God, it feels amazing. And then over the Christmas break, one of the patterns that has been habitual for me has been a self-doubt. Oh, maybe it's not so great. Maybe it's not actually all that. Maybe people are going to think it's terrible. And then, of course, the story continues, and then people are going to think I'm stupid. They're going to think I've really messed up. They're going to think I'm a disaster. They're going to laugh me out the village, was one of the phrases that came up. I'll have no career. My reputation will be in ruins. All of these stories were coming up, although actually initially quite invisibly. All I first of all noticed was a low feeling, a sadness, a doubt, that my old friend doubt, just feeling that in my system. And suddenly this summit, which only weeks ago looked so incredible and so much the perfect thing, was now looking like a disaster, was now looking like, what on earth am I doing with this? What do I think I'm doing? Who do I think I'm talking to? Who's going to come to this? And so then this morning, and this has been such a shift for me, this morning I sat quietly with all of that. I turned towards it to embrace it, as Rumi suggests. These doubts which historically I run away from, or in fact I've listened to and gone, oh, yeah, they're right. This is a disaster. Who's going to want this? I'm just going to pull the plug. I'm just going to sell it off really cheap. I'm just going to do something that gives me some kind of get out clause so that I don't get laughed out the village. And so this morning that morning I sat quietly with it all and heard all of what that system wanted to say, all of this doubting, fearful energy within me, which was coming for attention, which was coming for love, which was coming to be embraced. And I listened to all its fears. I listened to all its concerns. I listened to all its worries. Sometimes having something to share in response, which gave a different perspective, which gave a different angle, which gave some different information. And that provided a shift for the energy. Sometimes just being with it was enough for it to see that everything was actually okay. And so with the inclusion of all of these energies, rather than the resistance to them, rather than putting barriers up against them, rather than continuing in the feeling of misalignment, I tuned in. I turned towards myself. I turned towards the fears in order to understand them, not with any longer term goal of, and then that means the summit will definitely be a success. Not with any longer term goal of, and then that means lots of people will come. Purely turning within to be with these aspects of who we are, to listen to them genuinely, rather than to hear them and go, oh my God, you're right. Yeah, I'm gonna dumb this down, I'm gonna play this down, I'm gonna go back to the shadows. And rather than ignoring it and carrying on regardless anyway, this turning towards is the inclusion of them, is the integration of them, is the return to the feeling of wholeness that we really are. And we only don't feel that wholeness when we're resisting and rejecting aspects of our experience. And that's all that we really want. That feeling of wholeness that we already are. This feeling of love that we already are, that we've simply built false barriers against, which we then believed. And in the belief of them as true barriers, they felt like true barriers. I said in my community recently, I'll share these words, the good feeling you're looking for, the good feeling that you're looking for isn't a smile on your face. It's an absence of resistance. And an absence of resistance is a free flow of creation. You're not really looking for feeling happy all the time, feeling lit up all the time, feeling joyful all the time. That's not really what you're looking for. It's natural that we move through ebbs and flows of happiness and sadness, of delight and disappointment. It's natural that we have ups and downs. What we're really looking for is an absence of resistance to all of that natural ebb and flow, that natural up and down, that natural movement of life and experience through you. That's what we're really looking for. And that is an absence of resistance. That's an absence of barriers within ourselves. And in that experience, then we are simply back in the creative flow of our aligned expression, our natural expression, whatever that is, whatever that is. Because alignment also doesn't mean go do amazing, massive, life-changing stuff. Alignment can mean tiny actions within your home, within your workplace, within your community. It doesn't mean that we all suddenly have to go out and do massive stuff. It doesn't mean jazz hands. It doesn't mean turn everything on its head and revolutionize everything. It can be the simple act of smiling to somebody at the shops, the simple act of returning somebody's lost item that you found in the street. It can be the simple act of saying hi to somebody, whether you know them or not. Whatever that natural expression is. In fact, that natural expression can also be, no, I don't like that. I don't like that behavior. Stop doing that. Our natural aligned expression also includes all of it. And as we live in an absence of resistance, then that natural expression can't help but flow out. It's all that there is, really. But for these believed barriers that we've built against them. So consider that you're never really out of alignment. You're either feeling the feelings of fear, and that's how the world is showing up, or you're feeling an absence of those feelings of fear, and that's how the world's showing up. And any resistance that you layer on top of that simply increases the feeling of misalignment. Any barriers that you've built against any of that simply increases the feeling of misalignment. The feeling of misalignment. You're never truly misaligned. But we really love the feeling of alignment, because that's our natural state. And whether we're in alignment with delight, whether we're in alignment with sadness, it's the absence of resistance. Alignment is the absence of resistance. And that's what we're really looking for. And so I've mentioned in this, the Enlightenment Summit that I'm hosting starting on the 17th of January, which is all about this. It's all about discovering and meeting and embracing these barriers to love that we've built within ourselves. I say we've built them. Not really, not consciously. Nobody's chosen this, but they have been built. And so the whole point of this summit and the ongoing deeper dive event, which is going to follow it, the whole point is to help you do exactly what I did when that doubt arose during the holidays, to turn towards, to meet it, to be with it. And all the people you're going to meet through the summit are either helping you do that by moving towards what you really want to create, or by turning around towards yourself when the resistances arise, when the seeming problems arise, when the difficulties arise, to help you turn towards, to embrace, to love, to be with. That's what all these speakers are going to be bringing to the summit in all of their unique ways. And so if that's something you'd like to know more about, if it's something you want to go deeper with for yourself, I would so love for you to join us there. I'll put the link in the description, or if you're getting this in my email, you'll see it in the email. And sign up, it's free. Recordings available till the morning of the 22nd of January. And then, as I say, following that, if you want to, there'll be a deeper dive event, which you can bespoke to your own needs. But I'll be back to tell you more about that another time. So for now, if the summit sounds good, if you want to meet a whole bunch of amazing women, and they are all women, not consciously, it turned into a women's only event in terms of the speakers and the experts who are coming. If you'd like to go deeper with this and to meet not all at all, there are so many ways we can meet ourselves in these experiences, but if you'd like to come and meet an amazing snapshot of the ways that we can be with ourselves in our experience, rather than rejecting, rather than resisting, rather than running away, then I would so love to see you there. As I say, the link's below. Drop me any messages with any questions you've got, and I look forward to seeing you. Take care.